Welcome. This is video 11 of the Assessing Risk of Significant Harm training course for child protection practitioners. This course looks specifically at the use of the Stage 2 risk assessment or Risk 2 format to assess risk of significant harm. Video 11 provides a detailed explanation of how to complete Section 2 of the Stage 2 risk assessment. Section 2 focuses on understanding the needs of the child. Understanding the needs of the child. The first three sections of Risk 2 identifies harm. Firstly, by understanding parental capacity, and second, looking at how a child's needs are met. Section 3 analyses the relationship between these two considerations to establish the degree of harm. Sections 1 and 2 follow a similar structure, providing a series of prompt questions of factors to consider, and these are then summarised in a professional opinion statement regarding parental capacity. The purpose of this section is to explore what evidence is known about the area of child's needs, what may be known by other agencies, and what are the unmet needs or concerns. It is important to obtain relevant information across the range of child developmental needs, parental capacity, and family and environmental factors. This is informed by talking to the child and understanding the views of other agencies who know the family. Its aim is to explore unmet needs and establish whether there are any substantial unmet needs. It explores what is known and how this information has been gathered. They are answered yes, no, or not sure. The answers prompt you to think whether you have enough information to make a decision or if you need to make further inquiries. The prompts in Section 2 include questions about: have you seen the child or seen the child alone to help understand their needs? Have you spoken to current or past professionals who know the family? Have you reviewed current or past records of your own and other agencies? Have you created a chronology for your own agency or requested one from other agencies? Are there any areas of the child's needs where you have concerns? The section concludes with a record of your professional opinion graded across 4 options. These range between very few needs unmet, some needs unmet, many needs unmet, and most needs unmet. This section requires you to make a decision on the basis of the information that you have available at the time. Very few of this child's needs remains unmet. Those needs are not critical needs. Some of this child's needs remains unmet. Those needs are not critical needs. Many of this child's needs remain unmet. Those needs are not critical needs. Most of this child's needs remain unmet and or a critical need is unmet. You will notice the use of the term critical need. This is an important term that is used in a specific way in the risk model. It means a life or limb need. The consequences of this need being unmet is a threat to life or immediate safety. For example, protecting from used hypodermics, which are accessible to a toddler is a life or limb need. Protecting from sexual abuse by a convicted paedophile left to babysit because the parent doesn't believe village gossip is an immediate threat to safety. However, going to school or seeing a dentist is not a critical need. It is not life or limb. For more information, there is additional guidance available. This is structured in a scored grid with an opportunity to record your notes and evidence to support your judgment. In Section 8 of the risk assessment, a summary statement is created. This brings together information from each of the sections of the risk assessment. This creates a summary of the risk assessment and can be used in other documents and processes such as social work reports to case conference. As we progress through this course, we will consider several components. These include identifying the capacity of parents to meet a child's needs, the degree to which the child's needs are met, what level of harm is indicated, what categories of harm have been identified, our predictions of likelihood of harm in the future, and whether the harm is significant or not. These are brought together in the reason for decision summary. We have used a case example to explain how the Stage 2 risk assessment is used in practice. In creating the reason for decision summary paragraph, it takes the professional opinion from Section 2.1 and adds a qualifying or explanatory sentence. To illustrate how these individual components can be used practically in such a summary, this section would read as: most of the child's needs remain unmet, and a critical need is unmet. The child's need for general supervision and stimulation is unmet. The critical need that is unmet relates to ensuring the child's safety in the home and protecting them from exposed sharps. Exercise 6. To what degree are the child's needs met? Exercise 6 provides you with an opportunity to use Section 2 of the risk assessment. From the Downloads page on the Practice Resource module, you'll find a workbook to accompany the course. This exercise is in the workbook with instructions and the questions from Section 2 for you to complete. You can pause the video in order to fill in your workbook. When referring to any cases in your workbook, please do this anonymously, for example by using initials. Please consider the case example from your own practice. In your workbook, work through the prompt questions and record these in your workbook. You can pause the video in order to fill in your workbook. After the prompt questions, you are asked to record your professional opinion. Select the statement that best reflects your overall assessment about the degree the child's needs are being met. You can pause the video in order to fill in your workbook. In Section 8 of Risk 2, the reason for decision is developed. This is a short risk assessment summary. This is constructed by building each component from the risk assessment into a comprehensive statement. By referring to the case example from your own work, please develop your statement for Section 2. In the case example, this reads as: most of the child's needs remain unmet, and a critical need is unmet. This comes from the wording in the 4 boxes in the professional opinion section from 2.1 in Risk 2. It continues with a sentence that qualifies or adds evidence to that judgment. It reads as, "The child's need for general supervision and stimulation is unmet. The critical need that is unmet relates to ensuring the child's safety in the home and protecting them from exposed sharps." By referring to your own case example, please develop your own version of this statement for Section 2. Take the first section from the professional opinion in Section 1.1 and then add the qualifying statement. You can pause the video in order to fill in your workbook. Reflect on the exercise you have completed. Were you aware of areas where you did not have sufficient information? Were you able to reach a professional opinion from one of the 4 categories? Did considering the prompt questions assist you in your assessment? Did you identify a critical need? If so, were you careful to make sure that this was a life or limb need? If you are unsure how you interpreted critical need, please read the guidance to the use of critical need in the practice resources. You can record your observations in your workbook. Once you have worked through video 11 of the Assessing Risk of Significant Harm course, please progress to the next part, which is video 12, indicating the level of harm. This is the final part in the identification of harm.